What's going on, guys? I'm Jay the Black. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I want to talk about Taraji P. Henson. She just announced publicly that she broke up with her boyfriend of over 4 years, and they were engaged for almost 2 years. But they have separated, almost quietly separated. People had wondered why he wasn't at her birthday. And now we know why, because they're no longer together. I'm going to talk about the real reason why they're no longer together. And I'm going to go into some details that people may understand or may not understand. Now, I want people to know that this pandemic has claimed a lot of relationships, a lot of engagements, a lot of marriages. Because when people are around each other more and more, they realize they don't really have much in common. And that may have been the case with her and Kelvin. There is an age difference, but I want to just discuss the fact that Taraji and what attracted Kelvin to Taraji. I think that Kelvin liked her energy, her spirit. She seemed like a very cool person to be around. I think he fell in love. That's why he was ready to marry her after a couple years of dating, despite the age difference, because he fell for who she was. And again, they weren't really around each other every day like they were during this pandemic. So there were certain things about each other that may not been able to know about each other, but that they know now. And I believe that's what's happening and what we've seen happen. Why you think so many of these couples who have been together for so long, there are couples that were together for a long time, that this situation hits, all of a sudden they're no longer together, because these couples grew apart a long time ago. They just weren't around each other, and not being around each other helped keep that marriage together. Now, the age difference, people bring up the age difference. I don't think the age difference was that big of a deal. But I do think that Kelvin realized as he was around her that, you know what, I'm not ready for marriage to you. I still want to be single. I don't want to be held down. I'm 37, getting close to 40. I think he saw that he was getting close to 40 and realized, I still got life to be lived. I'm not ready to commit to somebody who's 50, who's clearly gonna, I'm assuming, be ready to settle down. But I don't believe Kelvin was 100% committed. I think he fell for who she was. I believe he had fun with her. But when it came down to it, because they were supposed to get married in the spring of this year, he hesitated, because we can't say that they couldn't have gotten married. I mean, Niecy Nash got married to her a female wife, her wife. So we can't say that they couldn't have had some type of ceremony. I believe it was an excuse. I honestly think that Kelvin wanted out more than she did. She even talked about going to counseling, but Kelvin hesitated because he realized, man, I'm not ready. I'm 37. So I don't know if the age difference, it did and it didn't play a role, because Kelvin got engaged to her. But again, when you're not around each other a lot, you go from not being around each other as much to being around each other every day, then you realize, I don't know if I want to be married to this person right now. That's why she wanted to go to counseling. He's like, nah, I just want to be out. Now, she said something in the interview. She talked about how she's committed to the black man. It's almost as if there's only one group of people she wants to be with. Now, you got someone that's going to say, well, what's wrong with that? Ain't nothing wrong with that. What I'm saying is this: she has options, and she doesn't want to exercise them. Maybe she has, and she realizes that black men are the option for her. But I just thought that was a very interesting. It's almost like she's trying to put the pressure on black men and say, well, I'm committed to black men. I believe that was a veil, I'm gonna say a veil hit to Kelvin. When I believe she said she was committed to the black man, she's talking about how she was committed to Kelvin, and Kelvin wasn't exactly committed 100% to that situation. So when you hear people say, I'm committed to this black man or whatever, usually it's because they realize that their dating options, for the most part, their best dating options is going to be with that group of people. You have non-melanated women who will say that they only want to deal with melanated men because in their minds, that's their best option. So again, there's nothing wrong with that, but I always found that to be very interesting that she said that she made it clear, like, this is the only person for me. And then you say to yourself then, like, really? Okay. Now, I don't think that he was as serious, and I believe to a certain extent she was more serious than he was. I think Kelvin just realized, man, because y'all gotta understand, when you're about to hit 40, it shows you that you are getting older and you still have things that you want to do. They met when he was 33 and then she was 45, 46. Because you got to understand, man, Kelvin was on the back end of his NFL career, if not already out the league. So he was looking at things settling down. I mean, he does have children. And again, Taraji presented an energy that the women his age or even a little younger displayed. And that was what brought him in. I believe he always wanted to date Taraji. Because you got all these guys, they will say, oh, Taraji still looks good, I would still date. He was probably one of those guys. But when it got to the point of marriage, I believe he took 2 to 3 steps back and said, you know what, maybe I'm not ready for this. Maybe I'm not ready for this whole marriage thing. Maybe I just need to take a step back, or 2 or 3 steps back, because I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this marriage thing. She wanted to keep it going. She wanted to get married. I believe she was ready to settle down with Kelvin, but Kelvin was like, no. He was like, no. Because being around her and being in 37, he realized that he still has stuff he wanted to do as a single guy. This is why she's breaking the news publicly and he isn't, because he didn't want to he felt like he would face scrutiny. And I believe he is now, because people are going to look at the age difference and they're going to put all the blame on him, but we don't know what that relationship was like and why he ultimately decided not to work things out with her, because it's almost like she kind of made it seem like he didn't want things to work, putting the pressure on him as to why it never worked out, and saying, well, I wanted to work out, he didn't. And I believe he knows that people are going to look at him a certain way because it didn't work out, putting all the emphasis on him as to being the one that should keep this relationship going. But I just think Kelvin hesitated. Kelvin realized, you know what? I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready for this life. Okay. And honestly, this is why a lot of you guys should stop committing to relationships with women if you don't want to be with those women. Just stop doing that. Stop getting engaged to women that you don't fully know, that you're not going to be invested in. I know everything was going good. You was enjoying being around her. You was enjoying being with her. You was enjoying her energy. You felt like you were living out a dream. You're dating a woman you've always wanted to date. But the way it ended, it seems as if he didn't really take it that seriously. Taraji is 50. She's 50 years old. And she says she's still looking. She's still looking for the guy that she wants to be with. Maybe she'll find it. You know, you're never too late. You're never too old to find love. but she wants a certain type of guy. Kelvin was an ex NFL player. You know, it kind of reminds me of the Carrie Hill situation. She went from dating one pro athlete to another pro athlete. That was her type. I don't know if that's still her type. I don't think she's been with anybody publicly since. The last pro athlete boyfriend she's had, if she's been with somebody different, nobody could tell me wrong. But you have women that have certain types, and if those guys don't meet that, these women will stay single publicly. They'll privately date and be in these relationships here and there. But if they don't feel like he's a trophy, because let's be real, Kelvin was a trophy for Taraji. He was a younger guy. He's athletic, former NFL player. He was like a trophy to her. He was somebody that she could put out there and say, look at who I'm with. Look at who I got at my age. I don't think that's going to change, because looking at the way Taraji was talking, as if she thinks she can pull another one. And maybe she can. But are they going to commit to her? Are they going to want to marry her? Are they going to get engaged to her? You know, that remains to be seen. I think Kelvin just fell in love too fast. She put it on him. She put it on Kelvin. Got him to wanting to marry her. And at the last minute, he realized this ain't what I want. He realized this ain't what I want. I want to be single again. I want out of this. I'm not ready to settle down yet. I'm 37. I'm about to be 40 in a couple of years. I want to be able to enjoy my 30s. I think he saw all of that during this summer, this spring summer situation that we've all been going through. He realized, you know what? I still got life to be lived. I'm not ready to commit. I don't want to go to counseling, because it seems to me they've probably been having problems all year, but it magnified during this spring summer timeline. It magnified to the point to where they're no longer with each other and they've broken up. But we'll see what the future holds for both of them.